Okay, well, welcome everyone. As you noticed, my name is Emily Cabbage. Zach Hewells is getting married this week, so I am filling in for him as your host for the Advisor Ambassador Program for March 2019. And this here in our third week, we have Corey Anderson as our speaker, and his topic is how to be a playmaker in the industry. Everyone right now is on mute, and so once Corey gets through all of his presentations, I can take people off mute, or you can also use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen to submit any questions during the course of the presentation. So without anything else, Corey, I'll kick it over to you.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you very much, Emily. This wonderful picture you see in front of you, the good-looking guy on the right, that's me. The okay-looking guy on the left, well, that's Congressman Emmer. And can you hear everything okay, Emily? Just wave at me. Okay, perfect. That's Congressman Ember on the left. And you'll see that I've got some cute little drawings in front of us that I'm holding. This was one of probably 20 different days that I've gone to Washington, D.C., lobbying on behalf of my clients, getting involved through NAFA and different things like that to talk about subjects that are important to our clients. So it's me having fun with our congressman. He's a great guy. He's actually my local congressman here in my district. And we're going to keep going. So becoming a playmaker in the industry, what does that mean to everybody? That's going to be different. Your definition might be different than mine. When I first got in the business, I was 21 years old, fresh out of college, graduated early, thought I was going to make billions in the insurance industry, never picked up the phone, never called anyone, failed out of the industry basically right away and started working in the brokerage department, helping process business through underwriting. And learned behind the scenes and then became a brokerage rep, calling on advisors, teaching them how to sell disability. And I soon realized for selling disability insurance, I was frustrated with advisors not selling it. So within about 3 years, I ended up starting my own practice. This was over 15 years ago that I started my own practice. So becoming a playmaker might be totally different from you. When I was 21, it was different from what it would be now at age 40. Oh, you flipped my slides for me. So what I think of is beginning with the end in mind. For me, I didn't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't like people telling me how to do things. I like to discover it on my own, figure out my own way, maybe ask for some counsel here and there, but not have them tell you how to do it. You got to discover some of that on your own. I also wanted to be married eventually. I wanted multiple kids. For my goal was 8 to 10 kids. Unfortunately, we stopped at 4, had some medical issues with the wife, but we're a crazy family of 4 kids. Domestic engineer, I wanted my wife to be a domestic engineer, a homemaker, assuming she wanted to, which she does want to, and that's what she's thriving at. She's also the PTO president for the school, the parent-teacher organization president. I wanted to be that involved super dad. My dad, I love him, but he was not really a great dad. He wasn't very involved in my life. Parents were divorced, things like that, but I wanted to be that dad that's at every sporting event. I volunteer in my kids' classrooms regularly. I wanted to be seen around the school, seen in the community, and see where the kids are like, oh my gosh, my dad's the best. We go do this, we go do that. Summers, we don't work much, and we have a lot of fun in the summer. So I wanted to be that involved super dad. Those were my goals early on in life. And this became my why. It's all about my family. So be the person where the church is packed at your funeral. I think of you've gone to many different funerals. Some you go to and there's like 20 people there. Then you go to some funerals and literally you can't even find a seat in the church. I want that to be my funeral someday, so begin with the end in mind. I think of through NAFA, I've done a program called Lilly Leadership and Life Institute. Phenomenal program. I actually had to write my own eulogy. Interesting, try to write your own eulogy right before your first child's born. So some of the goals I have, seeing and talking to people, that's what I get paid to do. Hopefully that's what you get paid to do. You don't get paid typically to do paperwork. You get paid to see people and talk to people, counsel them through different issues. Sometimes you're probably their family psychologist, but hopefully a lot of the time is you're talking about their life goals and things like that and how to structure their finances around that. So at the beginning for my business, I was out on the road quite a bit. I was doing networking meetings, all kinds of things. I'm involved in NAFA. I'm involved in a couple other organizations like the Disability Society and a few others, and we have meetings all the time. In fact, I go to about 5 networking meetings just for our industry a month. Then, so I had a goal of being home 3 nights a week, Monday through Friday for dinner, and 2 nights a week, I was trying to pound it out and grow the business at the beginning. My family calendar, how I've structured it, is we put the family calendar on my business calendar, and then we sprinkle in business wherever we can. So I try to always put my family first, It doesn't always work that way, but most of the time it does. If we put it on early on, once we know of an event or a sporting event or something like that, put it on the calendar. I want to be there for the kids' activities. What changes do you want? I think of industry changes. So I specialize in disability insurance, working with other advisors, clients. And one of the things is in our industry, when I got in the industry, we had to do paper applications. You had to literally like snail mail stuff, and it was like prehistoric back in 2000. And now I've helped a couple of carriers come up with electronic applications, start DocuSign, things like that. I want to see changes in the industry, and I want to be part of that change. So become the person, what was my goal, was to become the person everyone calls when it comes to income protection. Most of my clients are advisors, and they say, my client needs disability. I don't know what I'm doing. They call me, I handle it for them, and I pay them a referral fee. But how did I get to that point? I didn't just all of a sudden start doing it one day. Mentorship, a couple of great people in the industry. I'm going to Deb Newman's retirement today. Deb Newman is like an icon in the industry when it comes to long-term care. She's mentored me many times throughout my career, and helping, encouraging me, and getting into $1 Million Roundtable and setting goals and stuff like that, and always challenging me. She'd just call me out of the blue and say, hey, how you doing? What are you working on? What can I do to help you? John Nichols, great guy in the industry, wonderful when it comes to disability, has created an amazing organization when it comes to disability. And probably nobody gives back more time to the industry than him. And it's kind of neat watching him and how he does it, and having him challenge me on how I give back to the industry. Mentorship too then is mentoring some other advisors. I've met an advisor through NAFA, Tyler. He's actually on the National EAC committee, quite involved, where he pretty much almost skipped out of the business about within the last 10 years. And him and I had coffee and started chatting, and next thing you know, I'm mentoring him for a while. And what's funny is now he half the time's mentoring me on stuff. So goals, I wanted to give back to the industry. I really like that. Probably in 6-7 year period, 25% of my day was dedicated to our industry. But now it's a little different for me from the standpoint of I do get business from our industry, but it's a great way to recharge your batteries and go out and meet some other people. Like, I'm an independent, and I probably do one of the most boring subjects in the world, disability. So it's great to go to a NAFA meeting and talk about some different things and get some camaraderie and, hey, what are you working on? And now going to national meetings, I love it. It's like a family reunion for me. So where next? Creating some goals on where do you want your practice to be? How do you want it to grow? So from the beginning, I wanted it to grow from just Corey to much bigger than me. So far, we have 2 teammates, Leona and Terry. We all work from our houses, and I wanted to have it grow even more. We're adding another one here in the next couple of months. We've already hired her, but timing-wise, she's going to start in July. And our goal is to hire another team member, a 4th one, technically 5th member, within the next 6 months. Raving fans. I think of our industry, at least on the insurance side, most people don't have great experiences when it comes to insurance. Surprises are fantastic when it's your birthday or Christmas, but insurance surprises are never fun. And so we want to avoid all those and create raving fans. Raving fans create referrals for you. You ever go to a restaurant and have a horrible experience? You tell a lot of people about it. You go to a restaurant, you have an okay experience, you don't really tell people about it. But then you go to a restaurant, you have a phenomenal experience, you're telling everybody, oh my gosh, have you gone and tried this? Or for me, Portillo's cake shake. If you ever had a cake shake at a Portillo's, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. So some of those things. Have fun with your life. This is a picture. I actually put it on my Facebook page, on my business Facebook page. Some people are like, why would you do that? I am who I am. I wear it on my sleeve. I'm a goofy guy. Love to have fun with my kids. They call me the jokester. I'm always joking with my kids. Like, if they're coming out of the bathroom, I know they're going to be out in a couple seconds. I'm waiting outside the door to scare the ever-living daylights out of them just to have fun. So you got to have fun. This is me being goofy in front of obviously a dead bear, but have fun with your life. Underwriting, I think of as we have a duty to our clients to tell them the honest truth up front and be forthright right away. So this is Erica Ronning, now had a name change, gotten married, but she said we could share this story in her picture. She used to be on my team, phenomenal teammate, and we were writing her disability insurance. Well, from this picture, a lot of people would say she's probably, for disability insurance, a normal class. Maybe, some people would say, one person said partier. Well, not really. She isn't a partier. But if you look at everything is from a health standpoint, oh, well, she's not overweight, she's perfect weight, all this and that. But if you start asking questions, she actually had cholesterol that was like double the normal limit. Well, that creates a problem for underwriting. When do you want to find that problem out? After you've submitted an application or before you ever even showed the client a price? So make sure you do a lot of field underwriting. It will save you so much time in the future. And that applies to even being a financial advisor, finding out if they're supporting their parents or their cousin or their side girlfriend, or I don't know, whatever it may be, is get the full picture so you can give better counsel and advice to your clients. Surprises. We all want to avoid those surprises. Again, birthday, Christmas are great surprises, but insurance ones are never fun. So this is what a lot of people think agents do. They're over on the left golfing, down below golfing, getting a pedicure. By the way, guys out there, if you've never had a pedicure, don't ever make fun of them until you've had one. Try it. Oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing. Oh, I absolutely love it. One of my favorite date nights with my wife is to go out to, we go get Caribou coffee and go sit and get a pedicure. Absolutely love it. So anyways, this is what some people think agents do. Well, to me, this looks like the ideal life. This is the life I want to aspire to be. I want to be able to go at noon and go out with a whole bunch of clients or potential clients or even my spouse or whatever it may be and go get pedicures during the day. Go golfing during the day on a work day. Is there anything better than going on a work day golfing? I love that. So I want that life. But here's the people who prevent it, right? The home office, the nose pickers at the home office, the underwriters that don't ever seem to approve our cases. I think of those are my teammates. I got to be on the same page with them. I got to enjoy them. I got to embrace them. I usually get to pick my underwriters once in a while, but I don't usually get to pick them, so embrace them. So for example, I like to go to the home offices on my own dime and take out the underwriters for dinner, bring in lunch for all the team, things like that, and build that relationship. I follow them on Facebook, comment on their Facebook pages, vice versa. I even have one of my underwriters at a carrier, when she goes running, she wears the DI Geek logo. I found out she likes to run, and she saw that I had a DI Geek logo on something, and she goes, "Oh, I'd wear that." I go, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, let's order it up." And I ordered her up some running gear. So build that relationship with the home office. They are your teammates, and if you don't look at them as your teammates, you're going to have a tough time in this industry. You got to look at people as your partners. Your team, your centers of influence. Everybody's different on this. For me, centers of influence is I do a lot of CE classes, continuing education classes. Now, you may not specialize in disability insurance, but maybe you specialize in long-term care, or you specialize in split dollar life insurance, or you specialize in only dealing with nurses as financial advisor or something like that. Go towards those groups and teach continuing education classes. I first taught my first continuing education class when I was probably 23, 24 years old. Nervous as can be. I probably was a third the age of half the room. And so you have to embrace it. But the CE, for me, the continuing education classes really built my brand and built my centers of influence, where people call me years later and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that concept. I have a client that applies to." So it's a great way that you can build your niche around that. Necessities on the personal and business side, I think of when you're building your practice is really keeping those tight. What is your real necessities? Don't go overboard on those. Keep it, you don't need the fancy car right away. You can always get the fancy car later on. You don't need the fancy house right away. You can always get that later on. The more you invest back in your business at the beginning, it'll pay a lot of dividends later towards having that lifestyle you want 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So keep the expenses tight. I think of even rent and stuff. A lot of people have rent and different expenses. I've decided to work from home, and so have my teammates. So literally our business expenses besides payroll is maybe $800-900 a month total, with computers, with the IT service company, with our software programs. All of that is our actual necessary fixed overhead expenses is very low. And we'll have meals and entertainment, advertising, things like that we do on top of that. But keep the expenses as tight as you can on that. What can you do to control your lifestyle? Again, when I first started, my wife was a Catholic schools teacher, barely making any money, but she was making more than I was. And so I did everything I could to overtake and grow my income at a young age, from the standpoint of my wife within us. We literally dated 6 months, then got married 9 months after we got engaged, welcomed a kid less than 2 years later. And so I went from just starting in the business, my own practice, to having to replace her income, replace her health insurance, add another person on health insurance, all within a matter of 3 years. And so we really did what we could to keep expenses as tight as possible. Time. What do you get paid the most to do? I think it's to see people, talk to people, write down the 2 or 3 things you get paid the most to do, and then how many hours a week are you working on those 2 to 3 things? And how many times are you getting distracted with email or different things like that? I'm a control freak. You're probably a control freak. It's kind of a common theme in our industry. But the more I've let go of things and let my team do stuff, the more we've thrived. So, for example, I have my email and my voicemail all comes to one spot. And we have access to each other's email. So I can see my 2 staff members' email accounts and they can see mine, and they jump in my email all the time and vice versa. When are your go hours? Focus on when you're really good at work. And just fly on when you're really good at work. So for example, I'm an evening person. Sometimes I'll catch fire from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. I run with it, and then I just write a note to my wife, hey, up late working, killed it at work, but don't wake me up before 9 or 10 if I don't have a phone appointment or whatever it may be. So when should you hire your team? I think you need to hire your team early on. What should your team do? So for me, for example, a couple things. One is technology. I'm like the most unsavvy tech person there is. 40 years old, but I hate technology, but I need to embrace it. But my team embraces it way more than I do. So for example, if I'm talking to a client and they're ready to move forward on an application, I'll say, okay, let's move forward on that. I'll have my assistant call you within 5 minutes and complete the application. Why should I spend 20 or 30 minutes doing an application when they can? For example, too, is I try to never meet my clients. What do I mean by that? I do all all phone appointments. Some people do Zoom and stuff like that. This for me is weird. I actually had to put a dress shirt on, things like that. Usually I'd be in my sweatsuit at work. That's how I work. Do what's comfortable for you, but also I would encourage you, if you want to build that practice that has so many clients down the road, are you going to be able to do face-to-face for the rest of your career? Can you implement Zoom meetings or Skype meetings, or can you implement phone appointments? Clients love it. A lot of times they don't like you coming to their house because they never know when you're going to leave. Versus if they know it's an hour appointment on the phone, get down to business. You got 1 hour and you got to get done, or half hour, whatever it may be. Also, Time Trade has been phenomenal. A program that I use, so my clients have access to my calendar. They can go right to my website and click on schedule an appointment, so that we aren't going back and forth 25 times trying to schedule an appointment. So that's a little bit on the time. Questions. Let me see here. Oh, well, time, there's a second one on it, but the Time Trade, I talked about apps, scheduling, stuff like that. Again, get your staff involved. Like I said, I do family needs. What does my family need? Put that all on my calendar. My 4 kids are 12 and under, so it's crazy with that. And then I can't stress again that when I'm on fire at work, everybody works differently, but me, a lot of times it's some weird hours. All of a sudden I get into a project and I love it and I'm rolling with work. I just shove everything else to the side and get my work done, assuming I don't have some family event. And if it's late at night, we roll with it. But for me, for example, I do offer 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. appointments. Do I like getting out of bed at 5 a.m.? No. Do I get out of bed at 5 a.m. very often? No. But if a client schedules an appointment, you're darn right, I'm going to roll downstairs and get on the call. And then at 3 o'clock, I try to end my day, be with the family. And then if I need to hop on and do a couple of things at 8 o'clock or later, that's when I'll do it. I'll even sometimes take evening phone appointments, but it's got to be the right client. And then I'll do that. Any questions any of you have for me?
Thank you, Corey, for all of that great information. How did you, I know you kind of talked about it, but why did you decide disability insurance was the right fit for you?
So when I first started, I started a company called Foster Klima as a guardian general agency. Never picked up the phone, never called anyone, read policies all day long. And after about 6 months, they said, why don't you start working in our brokerage, helping get cases through underwriting. So I started doing that, and the brokerage was focused on disability. So I started learning the disability side of it. And then they ended up hiring me as their brokerage rep, calling on advisors. So I had to learn disability insurance. Nobody picks disability insurance. It's unless you have a parent or something or a sibling in it. Nobody says I want to be a disability insurance specialist when they grow up, but couldn't imagine it any other way. I absolutely love it. Some days you want to pound your head against the wall dealing with things, but I absolutely love it.
Let's see, we got a comment from Oscar. Really like the idea of home office is also part of the team. Thanks. I'm going to go ahead. I just realized that I hadn't unmuted everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody.
Things on the team too, I'll tell you. Some people find it weird. I don't see my team more than once every 6 to 8 weeks. Like today, I'm going to actually drive by and see my one of my team members at her house because she needs checks. For example, I started getting frustrated writing checks. I don't know about you, but I hate writing checks. It just irritates me. So I just literally will sign 30 checks, and even personal checks too, personal and business. I swing by my teammate's office or house or whatever, and I drop them off, and she goes with them, and I just let her know when I need a check written, and she does it, and she mails it.
Awesome. Okay, well, I have, unless you've muted yourself, I've unmuted everyone. Does anybody have any direct questions for Corey, additional or comments?
Yeah, this is Oscar again. Can you hear me?
Yep. We can hear you, Oscar.
Yeah, no, thanks, Corey. And more importantly, I meant when you referred to like underwriting, the underwriting team being actually part of your team as well. It's something that I think is it takes a little bit to learn, that or realize more or less that the guys that actually get things taken care of for you. Just this week, I had a situation where your comment just resonated because, yeah, to really grow what you're doing, ultimately, I guess I never considered until I just heard you that there are so many people involved in what you're doing to make a sale that it is important to consider them actually part of the team. So I thought that was really. That's what I meant by my comment. I really do appreciate that you've had the experience to actually, understand that. I really liked the way you carry and you explained yourself. It really means a lot, especially with in this industry, kind of making yourself more, add the human element, so to speak, to it. So I appreciate it.
Well, and we got to add one little part towards the end. Before we end, I'll put my hat on. But one comment on the home office people. So last night I actually had one of the sales reps from an out-of-town carrier. They were in town, and we had them over for dinner. We've had this individual over for dinner probably 5 times at our house, and they arrived at maybe 5:30 and didn't leave till 9:45 last night. And they know my wife, they know my 4 kids, they razz them. My kids razz this person. Wow. And we were talking, and the thing we talked business last night in a 4-hour and 15-minute period, or 4-hour period. We talked business for about 5 or 10 minutes, and it was at 9:30, a couple quick questions. But my point in it is they were talking about how the placement ratio, and I don't know how much you do in insurance, Oscar, but in disability insurance, the average placement ratio in the industry is 60%. So if you submit an application, you submit 10 applications, only 6 of those are going to get placed, which I think is an embarrassment to our industry. 40% wastage. And my point in all that is this individual, their carrier was much lower than the 60% right now. And what a waste of time. So for me, it's getting to know the carrier, getting to know the underwriters, getting to know those people that make the decisions. And if you go towards those home office people, if you're ever having a chance to have dinner with them, do your best not to ever talk about business. Figure out who they are as a person, what makes them tick. So, for example, I have an underwriter in Iowa that loves the Blackhawks and loves the Hawkeyes. Well, don't ever call after a Hawkeyes or Blackhawks loss. The next day, don't even call. You aren't going to get a great offer. Wait a day and a half. Learn that about your underwriter. Know them so well that certain days you don't call them for an offer.
Interesting. I like that.
Awesome. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought I was cutting somebody off. Anybody else have any other comments or questions for Corey? And And again, Corey, we thank you for this. I know you've got a little, there you go.
Goal Vikings. Let's go. You got to have fun, you know?
And Corey, definitely, if he doesn't do anything, it's definitely have fun. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Please join us next week for Rodney. He will be wrapping up our session here in March, and his topic is managing your time and money. So look forward to seeing everybody next week, and thank you again.
Go Vikings.